Fang Foom is officially in Marvel Snap, and so is It's Guess Gaming. Sort of, because I'm back, and we're back to doing this the way we used to do it before. We are going to test Fang Foom, who's... We gotta have some, like, easier way to say this card. Can we call him Triple F? Can we just call him Foom? Or, like, what are we actually going to call this card now? Because Fang Foom is a lot to say every single time I want to say the card. So let me know in the comments, what are we calling the card from now on? Because at the moment, I'm just going to go with Foom. Because Foom. We're just going to go with it. So here we go. Let's first talk about the card itself, because it is a really unique, I think is the best way to describe it, card, okay? Fang Foom. 7 cost 12 power. On reveal, gain the power of front row enemy cards here. So powerful, big guy. Big guy, and a relatively easy condition to make happen. I think that's the big one to really talk about here, is that it's one thing to be like restricted in the sense of like Infinite, where you have to have a certain condition or a card to play around it. Or then you also have the other option of like 1 energy. Because ramping out something to play it down is easy. That's kind of a big deal right now in the game. And as someone who's been stepped away from the game for the last month and now coming on back, and this is the first new card we're going to get. Honestly, it could not have been a better week to come back into Marvel Snap, because there's some very obvious things to do with this card, and then maybe some not so obvious things. But we're going to build 4 decks. We're going to talk about 4 decks, put them to the test, and see how they do at the end of the video after we test them once the card goes live in about an hour-ish from when we're recording this. Okay, so here's deck number 1. Deck number 1 is Fang She-Hulk. You're going to see a pattern here. So it's a She-Hulk deck. I decided to go down the path of Wiccan with Warlock and Luna Snow. And it's a lot of energy. There's a lot of consistency in there. But if Dragon Lord can pull the card down, that's an option. I like the idea of playing this similar to how you would play a standard Moon Girl, Sunspot, She-Hulk Infinite deck. But instead it's Fang Foom. And it's less restriction. But I put a couple of weird things in here intentionally. For weird thing number 1 is going to be Morph. Because everybody and their sister this week is going to be playing big cards in their deck. If there was a week for Morph to be successful, it's this week. Because you have a lot of ramp cards that will benefit, that other players are going to want to play. Like, people will play Luna Snow and Wave and Electro, and they can only play one of them on turn 3, so they're sitting on another in their hand. Morph pulling into one of those, that's still a good hit, but ideally you're looking obviously for Morph to be an upgrade and hit multiple big cards over the course of testing. So that's where I'm going down this path, because you can either go the Sunspot, Moon Girl, skip a turn, double She-Hulk. You've got Warlock and friends on the skips. You've got a lot of different ways to make energy happen, and you're still filling the curve. So if you play Sunspot on 1, Domino on 2, Morph on 3, seems weird, but you're still in your Wiccan curve. Sunspot's not going to grow until turn 5. As long as you understand that, then this deck will actually be pretty consistent, in my opinion. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Next up, Fang Fella. I went Hella. Now, I went back and forth on how to build this deck. I went back and forth repeatedly on how to build this deck. And what I got out of it was a couple of things. Number 1, I don't know if I want Death in here for a Hella deck, because Lady Sif only will hit Death if it's in the hand. And I know you want as many cards to come back and revive as possible, but more importantly, I think you need to be able to target which cards come back with Lady Sif. I don't always want it to just be exclusively Death. I want the chance of it hitting Fang Foom to be able to bring that back. then throw in the Ghost Rider and the Dragon Lord to get more cards down, and you still got big numbers on there, so if you're doing the Black Knight line, you're still feeling really good. Swordmaster is another reason I'm not going with Death, because then it helps to want to only hit Scar and Fin Fang Foom. Because if it hits Dragon Lord and comes back, it's kind of a wash and ends up being beneficial nevertheless. The question card in here I decided to go with was Sasquatch. And the reason I went Sasquatch was because it's a card I can play for 10 power on turn 5. And it's a backup plan just in case if everything hits the fan. Where then I can say, I still have now a 5-cost Scar to play on turn 6 as a potential out. Because I do expect to see a bunch of Magic being played this week. So I'm less concerned about turn 7 not being there than normal, because I think more people are going to want to play Magic decks to try to do all of the Fin Fang Foom stuff, so I'm less worried about it. This still gives great hits for Black Knight, still gives some flexibility for turn 5, whether it's Dragon Lord or Sasquatch, or playing Corvus plus Blade. Or if you played Corvus on 3, you play Lady Sif and Swordmaster on turn 5. I think there's a lot within Hela. What the right build for Hela is, I don't know. But there will be a successful Foom build of Hela without a question of a doubt. Next up, Fin Fang Famp. There's an M in that final word. And I went a whole different direction with this, okay? Hear me out. There's just exclusively a guttural feeling. That's it. Exclusively a guttural feeling. I have no statistics to support this. A guttural feeling that the deck is actually, the ramp deck that is successful right now on ladder is actually restricting itself because of the necessity to play Infinite plus War Machine. My idea was to build a ramp deck that does not focus on that restriction of having both Electro and Infinite in the deck. Ebony Maw, just as much so, could be in here, but it is what it is. I decided to go Majestic Wingbeat instead for another ramp element, considering that this deck has 7 5-cost or higher cards. Then throw in Jennifer Kale, Luna Snow, and Wave, which I think long-term will be better. This week will not be as good, but long-term, I think Wave will be a better replacement in this build. I love the idea of what this deck does, where now there's also Dragon Lord back into the deck for ramping to get any of the big 5s down, and you can blink the Dragon Lord also into Galactus First Steps or the Fin Fang Foom. Really like that. Like really, really like that. Having that strength to be able to do that. I went with Arrow also. I took out War Machine because if I'm removing that whole line, I don't need Electro. I went Jennifer Kale. Instead, I'm going War Machine, I'm going Arrow. Instead of going Infinite, I'm going Fin Fang Foom. See what I'm doing here? So now there's less play restrictions on the board, and it's more about just make it happen. Just put the cards down, because the cost reduction with increased power as well is going to be very easy to work with on this deck. Like very easy to work with. So I think that ramp has potential now because Fin Fang Foom is already playing into the extra energy or the chance to cheat it out. Lastly, I saw this build, and I'm going to call it the Fin Fang Fallen Ferric because this is a Derek build. And I had no comments for it. I had no comments for it because I think it is incredibly fun, stupid amounts of power, and smart. It is a Man Spider Fallen 1 deck, but it is really owning the fact that Fin Fang Foom might go crazy in multiple proc with something like Symbiote Spider-Man, or doubling the power with Shuri, and then just simple that into Taskmaster because you were able to get it out for cheaper. You've got magic to play in there, as what I was talking about before. All of the merge things happening to make crazy tall man spiders or to get unbelievable amounts of energy on turn 6 or 7 because Fallen One is also in the deck. This is make big cards. Big cards, make. Oh, the big cards. So let's make the big cards. Let's do what the deck is designed to do. Now, when you put it all together though, and you look at Fin Fang Foom, you gotta ask yourself, is the 7 cost too tough? Is the 12 power enough power? And how are people gonna, especially on release week, play into or play against seeing as many large, big cards as possible? I don't know. What I do know is that there is a mandatory transition that is gonna happen right here. And it's been a month. So I'm rusty. Wow. Okay, so it's been how many hours now? 5 hours? Yeah, about 5 hours of testing with Fin Fang Foom in a bunch of different decks. And overall, it's probably better than I'm going to be able to showcase. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, let's go to here and talk it through. Okay, here's what happened. The Hela deck wasn't bad, but it also wasn't good. And we're starting to see more and more Stardust start to appear in the meta anyway. And I did encounter it once, and it was a low little rate. If you did the full build, like what we'll call the Danish Hela build, and factored in Fin Fang Foom instead, you might have a little bit better luck than I did, but I felt like this one here was just okay. I don't know if Dragon Lord makes the cut next time, but there's something in Hela. I just don't think it's a good meta for it. The Derek deck with Fallen One, Hydra Man, I mean, this is also a good deck, but it's only matchup dependent. If you run into a deck that has Shadow King, you lose. Plain and simple. And I'm starting to see more and more people today than I remember a month ago playing Shang-Chi. Yeah, I know. Well, think about it. Everybody's playing big cards, so it makes total sense. But I would probably bring this deck to a tournament because it's consistent. And if you know how to pilot it, you can dance around a bunch of stuff. Like a bunch of stuff. So I was quite happy with this one. I want to give this one a little bit more time, but overall, I think I was pretty happy with it. I'd like to figure out a more concrete 6-turn version of it that doesn't require magic, but that's a tall order. I don't know if it's going to be as consistent because this is a 7-cost card. My favorite deck of the day was the Moon Girl deck. This deck felt incredibly good. Incredibly good. I would recommend that. I would say that was probably my favorite build of the day with like zero hesitation. Morph is good for now. I got good hits from Morph. But after Thursday, change it for something else. That's really what it comes down to. After Thursday, just change Morph out because people will then be like, okay, we're off of the hype of Fin Fang Foom. We're kind of leveling out a little bit. It's less valuable. I don't know what goes in that position instead as another 3-cost card, but that's all it needs to be. It's just a different 3-cost card. Right now, Morph is good in that position. I really enjoyed having the flexibility of having even double Warlock scenarios happen. That was really cool. I had a play at one point where I got the Wiccan line. They played Limbo, well, Magic to get Limbo, and I was able to drop double Dragon Lord, which gave me double Fin Fang Fooms. Like, it was so awesome. So awesome. I'm gonna recommend this one. Tinker with this one, have fun with this one. The ramp build, now again, this ramp build does not have the Electro, Warhammer, War Machine and Infinite combination. And honestly, I didn't miss it. Like, I really didn't miss it. I think this, like, a better pilot with this deck, maybe swap out Vision. Keyword here, maybe. For something else. But, oh man, there were so many times it felt so good just to play Dragon Lord and then blink the Dragon Lord into Fang Foom. Or play the Vision, move it, and then blink the Vision into Fang Foom. So if you don't draw it, you're really actually in a better scenario than anything else. Majestic Wingbeat, it did feel oddly a little underwhelming. It would hit, but I didn't feel like I was getting as much value out of it because there's so many 5-cost cards. You know, because there's so many 5s, I was like, It would turn it into a 4 more often than not, rather than hitting the Fang Foom or the Galactus First Steps to really give it more benefit. I think Majestic Wingbeat is exchanged for something. I don't know what, but something. But it's good. The ramp deck without that combination, I'm going to tell the higher peoples of Marvel Snap, start experimenting with it more because it's surprising. I did not miss it. Overall, it comes down to what do we think about this dragon? Fang Foom. Is he good or is he garbage? Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's good, right? He's good. We're good with that. He's good. Okay, he's good. Get him. He's going to be a good card for a while, I have a feeling. Even if they do, if someone breaks it and then nerfs him down to like a 7/10, the dials are very minimal here. Very minimal. He's a 7-cost, 12 power card. The only numbers you can change on him are the 7 and the 12. He hits the front row enemy cards here. He has the targeting. Like, this is going to be a good card for a while. We kind of expected it to be a good card. I think it's safe to say, yeah, this was a good card to walk back to, you know, after being away for a month. And I appreciate all the support, even if you made it all the way here to the end of this video and you've already hit, you know, like and commented below and told a friend that I'm streaming again and all these things. Like, being away for a month was wonderful and cleansing in many ways. But I'm ready to get back to the normal grind. And this was a great way to get back to Marvel Snap after being away for so long. So, everybody, go get them. And let me know which deck you're going to play down below. You know the drill. All right? See you next time.